Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Welcome back.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So what's been
what?
going on? Anything new in your life this week?
God.
I mean, you are like on the runway for the book launch.
There's that. Yes.
You're doing a lot of that already.
That is true.
But then,
Yes.
another new thing.
Another new thing. I had a grandbaby. I had a baby on Friday.
You had a baby.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start. First of all, I mean, you saw him. He's
Perfect.
Well, yeah, he's perfect is what happened. We had a perfect baby. And so that was the first plus in the plus column. And it just couldn't have gone. It's just nothing could have been better. Nothing. He's a little bit early. He was actually due on September 11th.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. I just remember thinking, what am I going to do? Like that I'm in full throttle, high octane, 0 minutes in the day schedule by then.
Yeah.
For the book launch. I'm like, what are we going to do? So he's full term. So there's nothing to worry about there. He's bigger than his dad was on his due date, but it was over like a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
The kids had told me in advance, I don't know if I was intrusive. I don't think I was, but they let me come into the delivery room.
I wondered who floated that, because I was thinking about that for myself. Like, do you just wait and not say a single word? Don't drop hints. Don't be like that.
Yeah.
And then if you get invited, great.
Well, what had happened is that Gavin already knew this about me because Sarah King, my sister-in-law, told me, it's no mystery that I am obsessed with labor and delivery.
Yeah.
So that has been a long-standing bit of knowledge about Jen Hatmaker. And Sarah told me I could be in the delivery room with her and Drew for the last 2 babies.
Yeah.
Both babies. I was out of town. I'm like, why can't you just schedule your deliveries like a modern mother? Why do you have to wait for your body to be naturally ready? Like, put it on the calendar. And so I was out of town for both babies. And so it's been like family lore that I've missed my opportunities to get to be in the delivery room with a family member. So I don't think, well, you know what? I know me. I must have got right to the edge of the question and then like not looked him in the eye. You know what I mean? I must have. I can't remember how it went down. But ultimately, it was Danielle that was like, if you want to be in the delivery room with us, we would love to have you. And I was like, is this a joke? If this is a joke, it's not funny. Like, so that was the plan. And I told Amanda, my assistant for everybody listening, I said, if we have a podcast scheduled with Michelle Obama and my daughter-in-law goes into labor, everything is canceled. I don't care what it is. I do not care what I have. Everything is canceled. So as it turns out, gets induced a little bit early just for mild preeclampsia. And it was got induced on Friday.
Yeah.
And Thursday, sorry. And I had 2 things on Friday morning. Easy, move. That's it. And then it was Saturday off, Sunday off, and Labor Day. So I had 3 blank days. So we delivered on Friday. And then
We had a baby.
We had a baby on Friday. And then I was just with the kids all weekend, like at their house, which I'd said in advance. Count on me. Put me in, coach. I will do it. I will do whatever. I'll do all the cooking. I'll do all the cleaning. I'll do your laundry. I'll do whatever needs to be done. My mom did that for me. Mm-hmm. Did you have that?
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done.
Well, it's impossible, which is why we used to have babies in villages.
That's right.
And those things just got done.
And all the grandmas and the aunties came around.
I think it was less complicated also, but I don't know how anyone does it alone.
I agree. I completely agree. I had my mom, my mother-in-law, so helpful. Mm-hmm. Like both of them did the earliest days, which are chaos.
Yeah.
My kids are learning. They're learning. Of course, I'm up this morning in the 5 o'clock hour wanting to text them. And I'm like, don't you dare. They are so sleepy. But it's chaotic. And so they're so cute because they're like asking me things like, when do they start having like a predictable like sleep wake cycle? I'm like, not this week, guys. Not next week either. Like, oh no, they're chaos Muppets. Like nothing, you're not there yet. Like just change his diaper and feed him. Just that's the best you can hope for.
Yeah. For 3 months probably.
I mean, it's just, but he is. I can't even. I want to cry about it. Whoops. I'm still so emotional. Like seeing him be born was like, I cannot even explain. And I'll just never forget it as long as I live. And Danielle just did so amazing. She was so composed and so calm. And Gavin was like such a great little husband supporter. And, I'm like, honey, do you want to be down here? And he's like, I'm going to stay up at the head. I'm like, great. I am in. I am here for all of this. And so it was just so incredible. Anyway, I don't know how I can work. I have dreamed about him every night since he was born. I had a thing. I worried last night about his weight, and I texted him this morning about how I wanted Gavin to get on the scale, and then I want him to hold the baby and do the math. And I'm like, you know what? What am I doing?
No,
I know.
you cannot do that.
I know. I knew. I wasn't going to send it, but then I did. So
she seems like she is like even keeled.
She's
handling it,
amazing.
Like not freaking out about all the things we were so worried about. We had too many pregnancy books and like early infant books, and at least a lot of what I read came out of like a much more conservative posture towards rearing children.
Yeah, that may be true.
Training your 2-day-old kind of thing. So I was just terrified of all of it. But she seems pretty cool with everything. She let you in the delivery room, and maybe when you think of things to worry about, just you worry about them.
Just you worry about them. Just keep the worry in your own heart.
Listen, this is who you need to channel.
Jana?
I was with her on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was not due for another 2 weeks. So we're like, blah, 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 talking about other things. And then she was like, well, the baby. The screaming.
Like she absolutely buried the lead.
Yeah.
My mom is so hilarious.
I mean, they're thrilled.
Yeah,
obviously.
Sure.
But then I was like, had 20 million questions. And she was like, well, we haven't been down there. Like, Jen's there. Like, she's helping. It's chaos in the beginning. Like, they don't need 20 people descending on them.
Gosh.
Like, I'll go when things settle down.
That's classic Jana.
I was like,
that woman has never been ruffled a day in her life. I don't know. And look at all the kids she had. None of us are like that. How did it not get to any of us?
I've been asking her this question for a long time. How did you maintain this personality?
That's right. Like, how did we not break her?
Through 4 kids, specifically those 4.
No, I know.
And also,
Larry.
How are none of them like you?
No, I know.
And she's like, shrug.
She just is not even going to overthink the question. Right. I can only just assume that my dad's genetics are so extreme that they just cannibalized my mom's.
Well, there is some evidence in like the jawline that the King genes are in fact
pretty strong.
Quite strong.
No, I know. But you're right. She didn't even like get ruined, as life went on.
I know.
She just hung in. All my friends say this. They all say to some degree, well, I just thought to myself, like, what would Jana say? Because my mom would just not be worried about whatever it is. Even if it deserves worry, she wouldn't have it. So,
I mean, she acknowledges when a difficult situation comes up and she's like, that's tough. I've been through that. Like,
right.
like, you're right. This sucks.
You have an element of her composure.
Only on the surface. I think that this has been clearly demonstrated. I
think that's fair to say.
I actually should receive an Oscar for the calm surface because it is not like that.
Yeah.
Underneath.
I actually know that.
I don't know why you even said it.
Well, you read composed. Your outer energy has a low register to it, like Jana, but it is not indicative of what's going on in there. No, it's not. That's a tornado.
I think probably those people who can like see your aura from across the room are the ones that are like, oh, wow.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so true. You know, Laura Jennings she's got do you know what I'm saying when I do this? Like you can kind of click for energy or some such. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Kind of an energy read. She's so intuitive. You know, she's so in touch with the earth and people and souls and energy and vibrations. And I think she would be clicking at you often. Like, no, she's not well. Doesn't matter how she looks.
Been polite enough to never do that at all of our church lady gatherings in the before times. But yes, now she would.
Anyway, Weston is perfect is the story.
Welcome,
And,
welcome,
oh my
Weston.
gosh, what a beauty. And I just thought for sure that kid is going to come out looking like Danielle, who is, she's ethnically ambiguous. We tell her this all the time, but she's got like some native, she's got Mexican. She looks absolutely Italian. Like she's that dark beauty. I'm like, this kid's coming out with a shock of black hair, her like olive complexion. He looks like Gavin. He's blonde. I can't believe it. Gavin told me right before they went to the hospital, he's like, Mom, because I was like, what do you think he's going to look like? What's your gut tell you? And he's like, Mom, he's going to look like Danielle. I am a pile of recessive genes. He's like, look at me, Mom. He's like, I'm blonde. I'm blue-eyed. I have a red beard. He's like, I'm skinny. He's like, I am just a walking recessive gene. He's like, nothing is going to make it to the baby. So anyway, I'm delighted to report that baby has that blonde hair. And
Oh my gosh.
anyway,
And funny parents.
he has funny parents. Gavin kills me. Gavin kills me. He is so funny. And, you know, I value humor. I honestly value it more than integrity. And so I am so thrilled that my kids are funny. I don't know where it'll lead them or how it will serve them, but I am glad for it. It makes Christmas fun.
Exactly.
So that's all I care about. But
You are going to have a first Christmas with a grandbaby.
it'll be so dumb. Can you imagine?
I can. It will be unhinged.
I mean, that baby is still going to be a tiny born baby. He will be 4 months old.
It doesn't matter.
And when I think about how many presents I think he'll get, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed in advance.
For yourself,
For myself.
because you're the perpetrator.
I know that. I do know that.
You can still get a WWJD bracelet and make better choices.
I
but
mean, listen.
You do you.
First of all, I hear what you're saying, but you never saw our Christmases growing up. You could not believe it. You could not believe the wall-to-wall presents. In her defense, that was Larry's doing.
That was
not
Larry's.
Jana's.
But I have heard the stories of
Yeah.
like them hawking their jewelry on Christmas Eve to get more presents.
We were so poor. I had no idea we were that poor. Mm-hmm. Like we were poor. Yeah, that was one Christmas when I was either second or third grade. And they just didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. My dad says that was his first job out of seminary, like his first real job with his master's degree. And he made $19,000 a year. And yeah, Mom sold all their like best jewelry to have Christmas.
So sweet.
Tears.
I know.
Anyways, this is taking a turn, but internet, don't worry. Somebody said I just made the announcement on socials today about Weston because I had to wait. The kids got to make their announcement first. I guess the parents get first billing. So not me, very casually yesterday being like, so like, if you were just thinking about like when you think you're going to say something about it, I'm like, I cannot go on without talking about this baby. I am like an inflated balloon walking around about to pop. I'm freaking out. So anyway, when I got the green light, I was like, thank God. Anyhow. But what was I going to say about that?
Comments?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some.
What was I going to say? Oh, one of the comments said something like, okay, that's it. We're all going to like kiss your ordinary content goodbye. This account is now baby spam account. I'm like, that feels right. I honestly think that feels right. I'm like, I already forgot I wrote a book. Like, forget it. I'm just a grandma now. Oh my gosh, one last thing. And then we're going to get to this episode for crying out loud. One last thing. Because everybody wants to know about my grandma name, which is just a deal now. Like in the olden days, our moms were just grandma. This was not even a thing. Anyway, what's your grandma name? And I just could not find one. Everything sounded weird to me and I couldn't pick it. I just couldn't pick it. So anyway, I said this morning on socials, I don't have a grandma name. I don't know what to do.
You asked the internet?
Well, listen, my community now, as you know, is curated to almost entirely smart, interesting, and funny people.
This is true.
They are just brilliant, 98% brilliant. And so, and I was like, Gavin said the baby gets to name me, and that's bullshit. That baby's not going to name me. This is not his business. It's not my son's business. This is my business. And so I'm like, I don't know, internet. I can't think of something. Okay, tell me what you think about this. Because one of my internet commenters said, how about you like do a riff on your last name and your Hattie? Isn't that cute? I'm pleased about your response. I really am pleased to see you gasp for air. Isn't that cute?
Adorable.
I already sent it to Gavin. I'm like, guys, I think we have a contender. That is so cute.
And that's like such an
it's kind of old fashioned
name.
But also Hatmaker, Hattie. It's cute, right?
It's cute.
Okay, let's sleep on it, but I feel really good about it. Sometimes the internet is very good for things. Okay. All right.
Maybe I should
have a grandbaby?
No.
That wasn't it.
Maybe I should open my socials, but then I thought, never mind.
Okay, no, it was way lower. Look at me. I'm like, do you want to be a grandma too? We can name you.
No, thank you.
No, it's not time. This is like Caleb popping in because I'm like, my brother's kids are 7 and under, 4 of them. So really, they're almost going to be more like cousins.
We did have this conversation.
Yeah.
Your mom and I. Like the littlest grandbaby and the oldest great grandbababy are 9 months apart.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like cousins.
Yes, because I was like, don't complicate your name. You don't need to add a G to Grana. Just to keep your name.
This is just who you are.
It's just too confusing.
No, it's too confusing. This is just Grana for everybody. But I had said to the group chat with my kids, in my family group chat, I'm like, because we always get confused. My kids keep forgetting that they are not Drew's kids' aunts and uncles. I'm like, those are your cousins. Even though they're little and you're big, y'all are cousins. And I'm like, no. I said, Wesson doesn't have any cousins right now. And Caleb's like, do you want me to give him one? I was like, child, it's not even funny. Like, that's not even, he's like,
it's not funny.
I could have you a cousin in 9 months starting today. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't want that. Like, I don't want that.
I have a child like that. I don't think it's funny.
It's not funny. This is not the time for like jokes. Like, no, thank you. Anyways.
But
I mean, they're not wrong. They could give us. You could be a grandma in 9 months based on that kid.
100%.
Anyways. You guys.
Okay.
Thank you for enduring
that. Thank you for enduring the baby content.
Sorry. It was bound to happen. Like, first podcast after the baby was gonna be like this. Okay.
Today.
Speaking of midlife.
Yes.
Speaking of midlife, because we become grandmothers in midlife. That's where we're at. So we are talking about that season of life today. And we are talking specifically about something that every single woman will face in her lifetime. All of us. every one of us, but for some weird reason, we have been told like to whisper about it or feel weird about it or feel ashamed about it or stay confused about it, or just endure it or just deal with it or whatever. And so, of course, I'm talking about menopause right here in midlife. And the good news is, and we've seen this on the show a bunch, this conversation is running up the flagpole as fast as I've ever seen something move from the margins to the center. It just feels like in 5 years, does that feel right to you? Like in the last 5, it could just be because we're entering it, but I don't think so. I think the last 5 years, this has just become ubiquitous in the zeitgeist in a good way. Like this is for our benefit and for our good. And so I'm thrilled about it. And we have yet another guest today to help demystify, to sort of open up this conversation, to help educate us so that we are all able to take more control of our health and our future. This is nothing but good news for us. Tamsen Fadal, she is an Emmy Award-winning journalist, author, advocate, who has become a leading voice in the conversation around midlife and around menopause. So through her book, which is called How to Menopause, and then this huge community of women online that she has built, she is giving us the language and the tools and the encouragement to navigate this season with confidence and with joy and with a lot of hope and expectation for the second half of life. So she is here to remind us that menopause is not an ending. It is an opening. It is a beginning. And it's not about fading out, but it's about stepping forward. And so we're delighted to have her on the show. We're so thrilled to be a part of this growing conversation. And so I cannot wait for you to hear from her today. And we are delighted to welcome Tamsen Fadal. Tamsen, we are so glad you're here. Amy and I were just talking before you came on about how delighted we are to be a part of this conversation that was on the margins at best for as long as I can remember, and it's just migrating into more like the center of the bullseye right now. It's just right on time for us because we are there. We are at perimenopause, and so yeah, absolutely. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your work. This bodes so well for our generation who's going to catch the front edge of it just as we're hitting it, but definitely the girls right behind us.
Yeah.
They're going to come in armed.
I'm real excited about that because I think if there were, every once in a while I found myself go, gosh, if I just knew that. Oh, and man, I wish I knew that 2 years before, 5 years before.
Yeah.
So I'm real excited about it. And I'm hopeful, and you could tell me this, but I'm hopeful perimenopause doesn't have that scary connotation that menopause had for such a long time.
Totally. Absolutely.
It's getting so much better.
It is.
Good.
You've been such a visible and trusted journalist for so many years, and now you've stepped into this new space of midlife and menopause advocacy. First, you created the documentary, The M Factor, which was so good. I think it's still available on PBS. And then you continued your work with this book. So can you share when you realized that your voice could benefit this space, that the conversation wasn't happening enough and you had something to say about it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. I don't know if I knew that my voice would be. I knew that the research that I like to do would be, and so that's what I'd always done. I'd always done research. Tried to distill things and make them a little simpler, and then be a conduit for that information. And so I think that that's what I realized, and I enjoyed doing it. And then I think I was finding these things such as like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this fact or this fact or this. Somebody's got to know this. So I realized over time that was happening. And then I guess when I set out and did the documentary, and we really didn't know there was going to be an audience for it because we were told so many times it was just a niche audience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interested in the topic. And so when I saw that first reaction, the first time I sat in the back of the room and I watched that film with other people, I went, oh gosh, everybody is just as like shocked as I am about all this information. And I think
Yeah.
that's probably the first time I realized that.
Isn't it insane that somebody would say to you it's a niche conversation when you look at the sheer numbers of us,
I
Yeah.
of
know.
how many women are currently in menopause and perimenopause? That's is what a absurd thing to say.
Crazy thing to say. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, it wasn't just men that said it, and
Ah,
that's what is really that was always the part that made me go, well, maybe everybody's right. Maybe nobody does want to talk about this.
gosh.
And so to see where we were then to where we are today,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
exciting.
Incredible progress. And what to me feels like, Amy and I were just saying this too, in a short amount of time, it feels like it went from vague ideas about menopause, which for me was reduced to hot flashes. It's the only thing I ever knew or heard,
Sure.
to just absolute science in
Yeah.
the last 5 or 6 years. And so speaking of, in the book, you deeply break down both the science, because you're a researcher, of course, and the stigma. And both matter to the conversation. So, if you were just going to high level it, what are the biggest myths that you want to bust?
Yeah, and I think that we keep adding some on actually to that conversation. I think that if we look at it from kind of a societal standpoint, I think that this time in a woman's life, a lot of people think like her best years are behind her.
Yes.
That's not true. That's just clearly not true. I also think that there is a myth that, there are certain types of solutions for menopause that you might not be able to start till you hit menopause. And that's not true either. If you're in perimenopause, you can very much be a candidate for hormone therapy.
Yeah.
And obviously always a candidate of lifestyle changes. I also think that women don't think that there's anything that they can do. And I think that there's a lot that they can do. And it's why I broke the book down into understanding the science of hormone therapy, meaning estrogen, progesterone. If you are wanting to talk about vaginal estrogen, testosterone, it could be any combination of those. And then also the lifestyle changes, because not all women we know are going to want to or be a candidate for hormone therapy. And there are other women that are going to say, listen, I don't want hormone therapy, but I do want to sleep. And I do want to make sure my bones are healthy. And I
Yeah.
do want to take care of my heart and my brain. And so I want to just make sure those things were separated. So I do think there are things you can do about it. I think the other big myth is that, that we go to the doctor and the doctors know about what's going on and can handle it. And the
Totally.
truth is there are a lot of doctors that are not informed about this.
That's right.
And through no fault of their own. Doctors don't go into this profession not wanting to help people.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of them were not trained in medical school by their own admission.
Yeah.
And so I think we've got to do something about that one. So it's no longer a myth.
I remember a doctor saying in all of medical school, which is a billion years, that he remembered about 3 hours of
Yeah.
instruction.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
3 hours over the scope of his degree
Yeah.
on menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bananas.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Even though this conversation feels new to us, a lot of us were blindsided when we were entering perimenopause, didn't realize what was happening. But in 2002, you write in your book, 40% of American women were on hormone therapy. And after the Women's Health Initiative released their now disproven results on hormone therapy, that just ended. Like it dropped from 40% to 5%. And I think even during that time, women were having these conversations with their doctors, but not in society. So we just lost so much, so many therapies. It all just seemed to end. It ended, and it's taken so long for it to like build back up. How did that study not only disrupt the hormone therapy women were on, but the whole menopause education movement?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it disrupted a lot, obviously. I think that, 2002 is when that study happened. And, there's been a lot of research done since then. The problem is nothing is quite as glaring as the headlines that said estrogen causes breast cancer.
Totally.
Yeah.
I remember.
You hear that and like, I'm checked out, right?
Yeah.
That's, I don't want to hear anything else. And so I think that and that was passed down. And I don't even know that we've, passed it down to our daughters like, hey, just so you know, I just think that, like, once that took root, it's been very hard to undo.
Yeah.
Even though there have been so much research since then, and so many different headlines since then that should have taken priority. So that's been really difficult to get across. And even today, like with the documentary that was really mostly about that, a book that has a heavy, heavy emphasis on hormone therapy, like an entire chapter dedicated to it. There's still a lot of confusion. There's still a lot of people that are very close to me that go, yeah, but I don't want to take it because of, and I went,
Same.
what? You sat through my film 50 times.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's a hard one, and as a daughter of a mother and a stepmother who have both had breast cancer and neither survived, I get the fear. Like, I get it. But I will say this, there are a lot of women that understand what is okay for them. There are a lot of doctors that understand if women are eligible for it. And there's a lot of doctors that can really put minds at ease. And that's what we need more of.
I love that. I'd like to hear this from you, because you call this stage of life a roadmap to resilience and empowerment. I wonder if you would be willing to share a moment where you have felt this personally, where you felt this kind of power rising up in you and you thought, oh my gosh, this is not the end. This is me stepping forward. This is me growing. Like, this is the portal into like this next incredible iteration of who I am.
Yeah. I think it's when I stepped away from my job after a 30-year career in journalism. I mean, that was a big one. That was a scary moment. I probably had envisioned before and never thought I was actually going to be bold enough to take. I also think it was stepping into DC for the first time to go talk about menopause. At the Capitol.
Sure.
What am I doing here talking about this? And then I also think it's stepping out with this type of a message, which I don't know that before I started the conversation and realized the need for it, that I felt ever comfortable talking about.
Yeah. There is so much focus on regaining the knowledge that we lost sort of back in 2002, and learning how to manage all the things that come along with perimenopause and menopause. But as Jen just alluded to, there is a story for us on the other side. Like 10 years past this, menopause is actually just one day. Like when you hit that 1 year mark, but then you're in it for the rest of your life. And we have years. Towards the end of the book, you wrote, I spent over a decade waking up every morning wondering whether this was the day I was going to be irrelevant.
Wow.
Which is devastating. To go through life thinking that something that's totally natural is going to injure your life as you know it. But we do have in our audience now people who are 10 years past this.
Yeah.
And seem to be thriving.
Absolutely.
What can you tell us about the view from your vantage point now?
I think it's a pretty great one.
I do too.
There's so many women that are my inspiration now. When I see this, I think that this is a pretty incredible time that brings with it a lot of freedom in a lot of different ways. I think it relinquishes us in some ways of these responsibilities that we have just, felt so burdened with for such a long time. And look, I don't say like, oh, get through menopause and everything's going to be a breeze, because I don't even think you get through. I think this is a time in your life that it's a transition is what it is. And I just do feel that bold feeling that, when you say women are thriving, I see it too. And I think they feel bolder, smarter, wiser, get more open about their lives, healthier in a lot of ways, in relationships that they want to be in versus relationships they felt like they had to be in. So I do think that there's something that comes with all of this, and I do think that also scientifically, our minds change a lot during this time. And I think that that's an exciting part of it too. And I think we become a lot more like, what? Okay, this is how it's going to be. This is what I'm going to be doing. And I think that that's exciting. So I look at this as a celebration in some ways. Look, all the symptoms aren't, but I threw the world's hottest menopause party last year so women could celebrate this time in life, not to dread this time in life. So they could enjoy this time in life and say like, hey, you know what? I'm okay to, take care of myself for the day. And it's all right if I feel like crap one day and I don't want to do anything. Or, it's okay if I decide that I'm going to walk away from my job if I'm able to do that, or this doesn't serve me anymore. So I see some pretty great things. I've been calling them the golden years instead of the golden years.
That's good.
I do really
Nice.
think that we have to start looking at them in a different way.
That's so good. I love that. That's my experience too. My community is largely, I'm my own target demo. So we're kind of all right here going, wait a minute, we're kind of awesome right now. Like we love who we are. We love how we are. We're smarter.
Yeah.
We're better. We're wiser. I don't know. That my experience absolutely like mirrors what you were saying. I've got a couple of questions, kind of two-part. I wonder, because you just I can only imagine the amount of time you logged here on research, how much you read, how much you listened, how many questions you asked. It's endless. So I'm curious, first of all, one or two or three or whatever of the things you learned that surprised you, where you went, I completely did not know that. Or I thought the opposite, or that surprised me for good or for bad. Either way, let's start there because then I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, when it comes to perimenopause and menopause, I would say that what really surprised me was, I guess I always thought it was like when you get older and everything kind of breaks down and that's it. Like I didn't even think hormone therapy was an option for me. So, and I found out it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that I could, I don't know, feel differently when I work out in the gym or be stronger, and I am. So those are some of those areas. I think when it comes to aging, I didn't think that I would ever have a second chapter or third chapter, whatever you want to call this, aside from what I was doing as a journalist. Like I didn't look at it as this. I just looked at this as more storytelling. But then I realized that need, and I also think I was, I'd always heard people say like, "Oh, I found my purpose," and I was always like, "Well, where's mine? Like I can't find mine anywhere. Where the heck is my purpose?" And somebody said, the purpose finds you, and that's what happened. And I never believed that, and now I really do believe that. I really do believe that happens.
So, kind of piggybacking off of what you just said, I'm thinking about a listener today who is closer to the starting blocks here. So they are in perimenopause. They may be like me, literally Googling my symptoms and going, am I pregnant? Come on.
Yeah.
That's how dumb I was about my own body and what I was approaching. And so I wonder if you've got a couple of just low-hanging fruit approaches, best practices, first questions, first steps that you would suggest to a woman who is going, I think that I am in perimenopause, and what do I do now?
Yeah. I like that because I really like actionables, and I don't want people to feel like they're in the dark all the time.
Yeah.
I think I would say, like, how old are you? Are you in your early 40s? Like, it's going to start happening at some point. Like, it is. Between now and 51, 52, whatever, it's going to happen. So we already know that. So if you're in that area, like, start listening. I watch my body. Are my periods irregular that used to be on time all the time? If that's not an indicator because your periods have been erratic and a mess, how's your sleep? Have you noticed that you're irritable, or you've just felt like off a little bit, or have you said, gosh, I just don't feel like myself? Have you, walk into a room, can't remember why you've gone into the room, feel a little foggy, focusing on one thing, but can't remember the other thing. Could be brain fog. Have you been working out the same way, eating the same way, maybe even better, and all of a sudden you're feeling like, I don't know, where did this weight come from? This belly, like I never had this before. I used to be those are all pretty basic signs of perimenopause. Now, we could be dealing with those for a number of different reasons. I went through a divorce during that time, so I attributed everything to my divorce and work. I didn't know it was perimenopause. And it was.
Yeah.
If any of those things today had been happening to me that happened to me back then with the knowledge I have today, I would be, okay, let me make an appointment with either my gynecologist or online online virtual health
Yeah.
and figure out what's going on and just run down those questions. Because the truth is, there's not a blood test that you need to do to figure out if you're in perimenopause. This is symptoms. These are symptoms that you're going to know that you're leading up to a day where you're eventually not going to have your period anymore, that your cycle is going to stop. And so I feel like we complicate things oftentimes. And what I really tried to do in the book was say, like, 1 to 2 is going to equal, whatever this is. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, you're going to have 2 symptoms, 4 symptoms, you're going to get to 6, because that is what we need to be able to do to put our minds at ease. If you're dealing with this stuff and you don't know what's going on, it can be so stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're having heart problems.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going crazy.
Yeah.
You can't sleep, and now you can't function at work.
Yes.
And so what I tried to do is take some of that guesswork out of it. And so when we said, like, oh, let's call it How to Menopause, that was really what I wanted women to be able to know how to do. Because, to your point, menopause is one day. And everything leading up to this, though, is that chaotic time that can feel confusing unless we simplify it.
Oh, it's so real.
Yeah.
Gosh. I remember when I just thought, because I'm so high capacity and always have been, I could just hold 10 tabs open at once and just punch it out. And I just remember thinking, I've lost my capacity. What is wrong? Do I have a brain tumor? I can no longer even think of 2 things at once, much less get them done. And so it's so helpful to not feel confused by your own symptoms.
Oh my God.
So helpful. Like, that alone is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that it takes away a lot of that angst of, like, what is happening to me now?
Yeah.
Because I think that's just not fair to women.
No, it's not.
Your book is full of so many incredible resources. You've got a QR code in the back that you can scan it and download, like a symptom tracker. But I love the section about being an advocate for yourself once you're in the doctor's office. So you've figured out that you've entered into this new season and you go to the doctor. And as we've said, a lot of doctors still do not have any training in menopause. You have a list of 15 questions to ask your doctor, which even when I was reading through it, I was imagining a doctor getting impatient and, like looking at their watch. But they're all critical questions. What can you advise someone who needs to go in and start this medical journey about advocating for themselves?
Yeah, I think that it's really important to make that a specific appointment and not be something, and doctors have said this to me, please don't do this at the end in the last 5 minutes because it's going to be a longer conversation. So I think that that's really important to keep in mind. And I would make that phone call to the doctor. Hey, I'd like to come in. I'd like to have whatever length of time that you can give me so I can talk about my perimenopause journey that I think I might be in.
That's good.
And what I can do about it. Now, if your doctor or whoever, is in the office says, like, oh, Dr. So-and-so doesn't do appointments for that. You kind of have your answer, or, that's not something we're comfortable discussing when you're in perimenopause. Wait till you're in menopause. That's not okay. Like, you should be able to have that conversation. And so I think that it's important to kind of have that as just your baseline of understanding. Now, if you feel like, hey, I've been with this doctor 15 years or 20 years and this doctor delivered my babies and I just love Dr. So-and-so, I want to go in there, make your appointment and say, like, hey, are you comfortable talking about perimenopause, menopause? Sure. Can you tell me what my options are? Is hormone therapy an option for me if that's something I choose? What are some of the other things I can do? Are there actually practices for midlife medicine that would be helpful to me? Because that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about having a trusted provider, and we're talking about practices like strength training, like meditation, like eating more protein, like fewer inflammatory foods, like figuring out how to get the right amount of sleep, figuring out how to deal with some of the stresses, sorting out what exactly it is your body is going through. It's not always easy and it's different for everybody, but at least being able to have that conversation with your doctor, I think, can give you a lot more confidence. But you've got to ask those initial hard, not always easy questions, like, are you comfortable talking about this? And if you're not, can you recommend somebody who is?
I like that.
I do love that you brought up in the book that if you're hitting a wall with your normal providers, your GP, your OBGYN, if you don't think that they are educated enough to help you, there are now these online
That's right.
medical services that really can fill that gap. They specialize in perimenopause and menopause and can be a great outlet, because nothing is worse than already feeling like crap, being confused, waiting 6 weeks for an appointment,
Yep.
and then walking out so deflated.
Yes,
with
exactly.
no information. So I love the encouragement you give to keep trying different practitioners, and also the permission to go online and find specialists that way.
Yep. Yep.
Like, those are good resources.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really important. And I the reason I do really like the online option, and MIDI Health in particular is one that I've come to just feel really strongly about, for a couple of different reasons. I know the women behind it, but I also know the women that are at the forefront of helping people who call in and need help. And they're doing this every single day.
Yeah.
So you're not dealing with somebody that is like, wait, I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar to me. You're dealing with somebody who has heard this and doesn't make you feel like there's something wrong with you. And instead, now they're getting to the solutions. And I think that there's something really important about that. And when I first came across them a few years ago, because I didn't, I was looking at all the different companies, and I just, MIDI Health over and over, I would send somebody to, or recommend somebody to, send a relative to, and came back with, feeling like they had real solutions, and they came back very armed and confident after that. And so I felt very good about those recommendations, because it's important that women walk away feeling confident about what's going on next. You can't walk away from an appointment or a doctor, whatever it is, and go like, I hope that was all right. Yeah, I think it's good. You have to feel good about that.
Yeah.
This is, you have to feel like it's going to help you get to the next place. And this is not like a one time you get your hormones and that's the end of it. This is a continuous journey. You might have to tweak them a little bit. You might need more. You might need less. You might need to go get a blood test. So you might need, once you hit menopause, you might need some of those things down the line, and you want to have somebody that is with you in that journey.
Yeah.
It's a great MIDI advertise on the show. And I remember the first time that I ever, they crossed my desk and I read all their website and all that they do. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a solution for women.
Yeah.
This is so amazing. I can't get into my OB for 8 weeks. Like, that's how far out appointments are. And so like,
I know.
it's such a great solution. We'll be sure to link to them in the show notes. I want to ask you one more question. If you could just, knowing what you know, hearing what you've heard, if you could just wave your wand and change one main thing, maybe, about how, well, you can pick which one you want. Either our workplaces or our doctors or even our families, whatever, or all. Support women in this stage. What would you change?
Oh gosh, I'd love to educate everybody. I'd love to educate men. I put together a man's guide to help men, to really just talk to them with the basics.
It's good.
I would love to make sure that all doctors had to have this as a requirement, in terms of understanding and learning. And I think I'd also like to make sure that workplaces start talking about this in a real way, so that it's not anything that's ever going to jeopardize women, ever going to penalize women, but it's certainly going to be something that they feel like, hey, I can get through this part. It's going to be all okay. Here we go. And I'm going to be able to stay in the workplace and thrive in an amazing capacity. I think all of those, I can't, I talked to this young girl today. She's in college, and she said, what area should I focus on in menopause if I really want to get into women's health? And I was like, all of them. We need help in all of them right now.
That's right.
But I really do believe that. But I think that some of those are some of the top lines.
Oh my gosh, the men don't know what is happening.
They don't.
They're married to us and they're partnered to us and they work with us and they're like, what's going on with your feelings?
And like, we can laugh about it, and it's chaos, but also the divorce rates during this time are so high. And I think, some of it is just lack of education for both partners.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
If you do not understand what's happening, then you will ascribe a different reason to it. and it breaks down so many relationships.
Yeah, you're right. That could be your next book. A man's guide to how to menopause. Like how to menopause alongside your people. I love this.
For the men.
For the men. Okay. We're just delighted to have had you on the show. Thank you. It's so nice to feel seen. It is so nice to feel normal at this stage of life. It is just such a relief to realize not only how many of us there are, but how many solutions exist. Like we are not helpless and this is not inevitable. I mean, menopause is, but not suffering. And so this is just great news for our generation and for everyone who is following us. So can you just, this is my audience is this, we're here. So can you tell them where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can get your all your incredible content and your resources?
Yeah, absolutely. At Tamsen Fadal anywhere on social. And then I have a lot of resources over on the website that are free, especially for the men and women. But, I think it's just really important to share that. And then I have a podcast, The Tamsen Show, too, where we try to talk to a lot of the different experts as well.
Perfect. We'll link to that, everybody. We'll link to all of those things so that they can follow you quickly and easily. Thanks for being on today. I'm really thankful to have met you.
For a long time, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate all the work that you've done. It's just going to matter. It's going to matter to a lot of people's lives and health and relationships and families. And what good work. Good job.
And frankly, thank you for looking so fabulous because we can now look at the face of menopause as Tamsen and Halle Berry
Thank
and Naomi Watts. Like
it's our best years.
Yes.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes. So, love that.
Thank you for putting in a sentence with those two beauties.
All right, you guys. There's so much underneath that conversation that we didn't get to. Her book, How to Menopause, is packed.
This book.
Yeah, there it is. If you're watching.
It's amazing.
Yeah, packed. So, and also sort of in layman's terms.
In layman's terms, but so many different doctors contributed to this book. And there's little segments where she interviews the doctors directly. And the neuroscientist that she worked with on her documentary contributes a lot to this book. There is so much information about our brains.
I love it. Yeah. So scientific, but also useful, practical, demystifying.
Yeah.
So over at jenhatmaker.com, under the podcast tab, I'll have everything you need from this episode. Number one, first and foremost, I'll have baby pics of my grandson. So that's first. Second of all, I'll link to everything Tamsen just said, all of her resources, all of her spaces, the documentary, which still on PBS, her book, all of it. So if this is your story right now, if you're like, I need more information, that's such the right place to start. Start with arming yourself with information and everything flows downhill from there. So also while you're over there, on my website, on the podcast page, you'll see, if you would like to, a send voicemail button. And we gather your responses and do listener submitted response episodes, which are some of our favorites, and yours too, by the way. Those get like enormous traction in the community. But you can tell us anything you'd like to tell us about this episode, or a question that you had, or something that you learned, something that your response to the perimenopause and menopause conversation. We'd love to hear from you. So that is over there at jenhatmaker.com. Thanks for being here, you guys.
Thank y'all.
Way more to come this fall. We've got a beautiful lineup of episodes this fall, and we are so glad that you're here. See you next week.